Well, Shabbat Shalom. Hope everybody's had a good week. And I'm going to invite Joni to light the Shabbat candles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Let's sing together how good it is, how sweet it is that all of us are here together. Hine Matov. You'll find this on page 10, on page 128. Hine Matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov, yala la 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 la. La, hine matov, yala la 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 la, hine matov umanaim, yala la 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 la, hine matov umanaim, yala la 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 la, hine matov umanaim, yala la 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 la. Hine matov umanaim, yala la la la. Hine matov umanaim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanaim, shevet achim gam yachad. Let's sing how beautiful this day is. And let's have a sweet Shabbat of peace. Ma yafeh hayom. Ma yafeh hayom. Shabbat shalom. Ma yafeh hayom. Shabbat shalom. Ma yafeh hayom. Shabbat shalom. Ma yafeh hayom. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat shalom, ma yafeh hayom. Shabbat Shalom. If you have it, turn to page 7 or 125. Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized task, the hope, the realized hope, the task accomplished. Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat, abide. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time, contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat, abide. And to help us to celebrate Shabbat, we welcome the Shabbat angels with Shalom Aleichem, and we'll find that on page 24 or 142. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Huni l'shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitchem l'shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Peace to you, you angels of the Most High. Enter in peace. Bless all of us with peace. And at the end of Shabbat, when you leave us, please allow your peace to linger on for the rest of the week. We come together formally as a congregation for the Baruch Hu, and we're going to find this on page 28 or 146. And please, if you will, stand up. Yai la la la, yai la 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 la, yai la la la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la la la, yai la 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 mai, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la la la, yai la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevavah Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Va'emet HaMevorach Leolam Va'emet. Praise Adonai, to whom praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai, to whom praise is due now and forever. Everybody can be seated, and let's turn now in the prayer books, if you have it, to 146 or 264. Actually, 147 or 265. Bottom of the page in English. Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures. Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. 6 lines from the bottom in Hebrew, in the middle of the page. Umavir yamom, umevir lamayla, umavdil ben yom uvein laila. Adonai Tzevaot Shemo, Elachai v'kayamam, Tamid yimloch aleinu, Tamid yimloch aleinu, Leolam va'emet. Baruch Atama Adonai Amariv Aravimim Lai lamai Lai Lai lam, lai. Lai, 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 lai. Page 148 or 266. The prayer in which we thank God for God's love and God's gift of Torah. Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam. Beit Yisrael. Amcha ahavta. Amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot. Chukim u'mishpatim. Otanu limadta. Otanu limadta. Alkein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbeinu u'v'kumenu nasiach b'chukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratcha u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'amed ki hein chayenu v'yorech yameinu uvahem nege yomam balayla yomam balayla v'ahavadcha al tasir mimenu liolamim baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Together in English, if you have this. 148 or 266. In each age, we receive and transmit Torah. At each moment, we are addressed by the world. In each age, we are challenged by our ancient teaching. At each moment, we stand face to face with truth. In each age, we add our wisdom to that which has gone before. At each moment, the knowing heart is filled with wonder. In each age, the children of Torah become its builder and seek to set the world firm on a foundation of truth. 149 or 267, we cover our eyes as we focus on God's presence here with the 6 words of the Shema in Hebrew. 149 or 267. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Together. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God. Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. 150 or 268, the commandment to love God. V'ahavta. V'ahavta maha et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha v'hayu v'vuvuvu hadvarim ha'ele asher Anochi mitzavecha ma'avava hayomim al levavecha Vishinantam levademecha v'dibarta bam Beshivtecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha v'ademerech u'v'shachbecha u'v'kumecha u'kishartam li'ot al yadecha v'hayu litotafot b'eineinecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharemecha leman tizkevremuhu v'asitem be'kol mitzvotai v'heitem kedoshim le'eloheichem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem. Together in English. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai, your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai, your God. The Song of Freedom, Micha Mocha, page 152. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamo mocha, ba'elim adam bonai. Mi kamocha, nedar bakom bodesh. No ratahilot, oh say fele. Malchutecha ra'uvanecha, bokei ayam lifno Moshe u'Miriam, ze Elianu v'Ameru. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed v'nemar kifada Adonai et Yaakov u'gialo miyad chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la. Who is like you, O God, among the gods that are worshipped? Who is like you? Majestic in holiness, awesome in splendor, working wonders. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Page 153 or 271. Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence, we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael. V'al Yerushalayim, v'al kol amo, v'al Yerushalayim, shalom. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael. Page 154 or 272. The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat throughout the ages as a covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day God ceased from work and was refreshed. Together v'shamru. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et hashabbat la'asot et hashabbat dorotam berit olam beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti liyavav olam beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti li olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'yet haaretz uvayom hashavihi shavavavat vayinafash lai lamai lai lamai yai lai yai lai yai lai alalai yai lamai. So in a few moments, we'll have the silent prayer. You're going to stand up for this, give the prayer of your own heart. You can be guided by the words of the prayer book, 155 to 167 or 273 to 286. But please pray from your heart. Speak the words that are important to you to say to God that come from your heart. If you're still praying silently, but if you finish your prayers, join with me. Lai la 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 lai 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 yai la 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 lai 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 yai la 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 lai 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 yai lai la mai lai yai la 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 lai 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 yai la 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 lai 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 yai la 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 lai 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 ya la lai lai yai la 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 lai lai yai la la lai lai yai la 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 lai yai lai la mai lai yai la 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 lai yai la 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 lai yai la 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 lai ya la lai yai lai yai la 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 lai yai lai la la lai yai lai yai lai yai la 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 lai yai lai la la lai yai lai yai la 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 lai yai la 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 lai yai la 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 lai yai lai yai la 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 lai yai la 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 lai yai la 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 lai yai la mai lai. Few words of Torah. Well, in the Torah reading, Abraham sends out his servant Eliezer to get a wife from his people back home in Haran, and he finds a wife who is beautiful, who comes from is mishpacha, and best of all, does deeds of kindness, which is especially important. He goes up to her; she doesn't know who he is, but he says, "Could you get me some water?" She gets him some water. He's at the well. He's an old guy. He's tired from a long trip. And she says, I'm going to feed all your, give water to all your camels as well. And without being asked, she gives water to the camels, which shows that she is both proactive in doing deeds of kindness and also that she cares about and loves animals. And she proves to be a woman of great kindness. So Eliezer gets her permission and the family's permission. She takes Rebecca, to Yitzchak, Isaac, the son of Abraham, to be Isaac's wife. And when she comes, he immediately loves her, takes her as a wife, and he brings her to the tent that belonged to his mother, Sarah, who had died recently. And so there's a commentary on this in Midrash Rabbah in chapter 60 of the Midrash on the book of Genesis. And it goes like this on the verse I just mentioned. Isaac brought her, Rebekah, into the tent of Sarah, his mother. The commentator says, all the days that Sarah was alive, a cloud was connected to the entrance of her tent. When Sarah died, the cloud stopped visiting the tent. Actually, it says the cloud was kind of tied to the tent. It was connected. It really was kind of like tied with a knot. And so when Sarah died, the cloud stopped visiting the tent. It went elsewhere. When Rebekah came, the cloud returned. All the days that Sarah was alive, the doors of her tent were wide open. When she died, the doors were no more wide open anymore. But when Rebekah came to the tent, the doors were wide open once again. All the days that Sarah was alive, there was a blessing in the dough that she used for challah. And when Sarah died, the blessing ended. But when Rebekah came, the blessing to the challah returned. All the days when Sarah was alive, a candle would burn from the evening of Shabbat all through the week to the next evening of Shabbat. Now, when Sarah died, the candle stopped burning for the whole week. But when Rebekah came, the week-long flame of the candle returned. As soon as Isaac saw her, he knew that he needed to bring her into his tent. She was a special person, and Sarah was a special person. Both of them did things that transformed the tent, and the tent, which was the home, lacked life and lacked holiness and lacked love and the spark. But these two women were able to bring life to the tent. What does the cloud represent? Some commentators say that the cloud refers to a kind of protection from sight, so it represents modesty. But I think a better explanation, whichever other commentators give, the cloud represents the Shekhinah, the presence of God. It's mysterious. It provides nutrition through water. It gives us water that allows us to grow. And it is a protective presence. And in fact, in the Bible, the cloud symbolizes the presence of God as we're wandering in the wilderness. So when Sarah and Rebekah are in the tent, God is right there, as it were, tied to the tent. They had the power to bring God right to the doorstep of their tent. What about so the next thing would be the doors. The doors are open. Well, Sarah and Abraham were famous for keeping their tent doors open at all sides. So if somebody came to visit, they didn't have to walk around. From whatever direction they came, they could come immediately to the tent. The tent was open in order to say, visitors, if you're tired, if you're hungry, if you're thirsty, we welcome you. Come here. We will give you hospitality. And it symbolizes that openness to other people. What about the challah? Well, the challah has a blessing in it. The challah, it tastes good. It is something that we offer up to God. It's sort of like the sacrifices. And and it's got a holiness in it, and it gives holiness to us when we focus on our gratitude to God, and our gratitude for the nutrition and for the good taste and for Shabbat, for the Shabbat that it symbolizes. Incidentally, there's a story the rabbis tell about this king who had challah. He said, "Wow, this challah tastes so darn good. Would you give me the recipe?" He got the recipe. He uh, had his bakers bake the challah. They followed it exactly. They tasted the challah. It wasn't that good. He came back and he said to the rabbi who gave him the recipe, what happened? Why does the challah taste good?" He said, "The challah that we bake has a special spice. The spice is a Shabbat. So when you make the bread and bake the bread and eat the bread with Shabbat consciousness, a consciousness of holiness and holy rest and pleasure, it tastes real good." And Sarah made good challah, and then the challah was tasteless. And then Rivka came, and the tent was full of the smell of baked challah that tasted really good and was a blessing. And finally, the candle. Now, some commentators say, I don't like this, that the candle represented the need for the house to be lit at all times so that Sarah could do her work or Rivka could do her work. I prefer to think of the candle as symbolizing enlightenment, Torah, joy, love. Light, it just lifts your spirit up, and light is closely associated with Shabbat. So really what Sarah and Rivka were doing were making their house a house of Shabbat. They were making it a home for Shabbat, and they were sanctifying the Shabbat, and the Shabbat was making the house holy. And they did it in a way that spirit of Shabbat, just like the candle, it flickered on, it shed light for the whole week, brought Shabbat into the whole week. So it made the tent or the house a Shabbat house. But in a more general sense, I think it made the house a home. When you have God in your home, when you have really good food, when you welcome guests with love, and when you have light and joy, your house becomes a home. It becomes a sacred place, and it becomes a beautiful place. Now, in Jewish tradition, these different tasks fell or at least the candle lighting and the bread, that fell primarily on women, although welcoming guests was both women and men, and having God's presence was both. But it fell primarily on women. But in our day and age, we understand that men can do things as well and should do things as well to make the house a holy and joyous place. So as we celebrate Shabbat, we think about Sarah, we think about Rivka, we think about Yitzchak's joy that his mother, who did so much for him, after she died, he found a replacement with Rivka, of somebody who could bring joy and love into his life. And I hope that we too can celebrate Shabbat in a way that our house becomes a home, and the blessings of this home and of this Shabbat can go on to the rest of the week. Shabbat Shalom. And now, let me just invite you, if you are willing, please feel free to text me or email me about any of your thoughts or questions or suggestions about this or about the essays I sent out. Would be glad to read them and respond to them. So let's prepare now to do the Mishaberach prayer. This is a prayer for health and healing. You're going to find this on 253 or 371. And among the people that I'm hoping will have health and healing are our friends Danny and Judy, and our friends Mother Frances S., and my clients, all of them, especially Beverly and Sylvia, and my good friend Steve and Lisa, and my rabbi and teacher Steve, and my rabbi and friend Lucy, and every one of my clients, and everybody in the congregation, and everybody in the hearts of the people who are with me today, that you hope will be blessed with healing. Let's sing together the middle of 371 or 253. Mishaberach Avotenu Mikor Habaracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishebeirach imotenu Mikor haberacha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Let's all stand up for the Aleinu. We're going to find this on page 282 or 586, bottom of the page. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol lateit gedula liotzer reshit shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama shelo sam chelkeinu kahem v'goraleinu kechol hamonam va'anachnu Korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. We've just praised the sovereign of the universe in Hebrew. We've proclaimed the greatness of the Creator who set the Jewish people apart from the other families of the earth, giving those of us who are Jewish a destiny that's unique among the nations. For that reason, we've bent our knees and bowed down, acknowledging the supreme sovereign, the Holy One of blessing. On page 287 or 591, middle of the page. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. We hope all people will come together as one, worshiping God together. We express this hope. The middle of the page, the Ne'emar. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. We prepare for the mourner's Kaddish. We especially want to remember the following people who have yard sites: Joseph Gordon Kraft and Esther Blake, and my friend Gwen Keston, and everybody else who's in our hearts who passed away at this time that we want to remember. Mourner's Kaddish, 294 or 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'olama divra chirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'gala uv'izman kariv, v'yimeru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam u'le'olamei olamaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudsha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran b'yoloma v'yemuru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yemuru amen. Oseh shalom b'romav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yemuru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, to all people, to which we say, Amen. Please take a glass of wine in hand as we say the Kiddush to celebrate Shabbat by drinking wine and declaring its holiness. You're going to find this on page 5 or 123. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho Bi'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'ved meshid, ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh, zeicher litziyamat mitzrayim. Kivanu v'charta v'yotanu kidam avashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodechecha v'yahava uveratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Tonight I have a challah that Joni baked that will rival the challah of Sarah and Rebecca. Really good. Sorry you can't have it, but I hope you have challah at home that you can eat. Let's wash our hands if you have challah and say the blessing. In English, it's thank you, dear God, for giving us the holy mitzvah to wash our hands. And I'll be right back. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz, we give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Bim bum, bim 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 bum, bim 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 bum, bim bum, bim 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 bum, bim 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 bum. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shalom, Bim, bum, bim, 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 bum, bim, 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 bum. Final blessing. Place your hands on the head or the shoulders of somebody you want to bless, or send the blessing out. And if you're receiving the blessing, listen carefully and take it in. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and watch over you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. May God's face light up towards you, and may God be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's face be lifted up towards you, and may God grant you peace. Ken yehi ratzon. So may it be God's will. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Have a beautiful, lovely happy, healthy Shabbat and a good week. And God willing, we'll be together next week. Shabbat Shalom.